Sire Digital Studios, talking comics, movies, TV, and pop culture every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on secretsofthesire.com, youtube.com/Sire Studios, and facebook.com/Secrets of the Sire. Our podcast goes up every night as soon as this live stream is over on all your major podcasting apps, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Speakers, Spotify, iHeartRadio, you name it. We're up there. Want to give a hearty thank you again to Mr. Jeff Gomez and company for last week's 200 episodes. Spectacular. It was awesome. We had a fantastic time. A lot of viewers, a lot of people chiming in. So it was a pretty awesome event and a great way to celebrate 200 episodes. This is our final episode of the year. Yeah, let's get our party hats on. Get your party hat on, Hassan.
You didn't tell me we were going to do party hats.
I don't have my party hat on. I just have my headphones.
I don't even own a party hat. I haven't been to a party in 100 years.
Let's say symbolic.
Yes, symbolic. I do. Right now, I do have my symbolic party hat on. That is not an issue. I got that done.
Thanks to Christmas and New Year's being on a Wednesday, we get something we have not had in a long time, which is a break.
2-week vacation.
We will be busy in between, though. Our Secrets of the Sire Star Wars live event will be happening December 28th at Funny Business in Nyack, New York. So if you are in the New York City metropolitan area, drive up about 30 minutes north. It's a beautiful town. Great little comic book store, toy store. It's a great little event. We will be streaming live just to our Patreon folks. So for as little as $1, if you become a patron, you can catch our live stream. You can join the fun. I'm going to open up the Zoom feed that night. To anybody that wants to witness and check out what's going on. And then you'll get the edited version January 1st. So if you are doing nothing January 1st, maybe getting over a hangover, or maybe the kids were up really late and maybe you need some sleep, but you can't, you can tune in January 1st, but you'll get after the fact. Patrons will get first crack at all this stuff. You go to patreon.com/Secrets of the Sire. It's December 28th. Please join us. We're going to have Mike Fasolo, Emmy Award-winning Robot Chicken writer, at the store with us, and Marvel Comics' own Darren Sanchez, friend of the show. He'll be there as well, too, and we'll see if we can get a few more folks. All right. Tonight, though, to wrap this all up, we got the Watchmen season, or is it series finale? We got Mandalorian Chapter 6 and 7. Got a little Rise of Skywalker preview. Again, our live event, we're going to go reviewing Rise of Skywalker, and we're going to review the last episode of Mandalorian. Tonight, we're going to preview it a little bit, and we're going to do our best of 2019. So we got a lot of fun here. First things first, we got to clear this up, though. This is our opening credits. Mandalorian decided, for some reason, to put their new episode on tonight. Or today. We started streaming today.
Earlier this morning.
We are going to be very cognizant and not actually talk about it because some folks might not have seen it. We're going to try to keep our streaming spoiler. We try to, it was nice when it was Fridays because then, we can talk about it. We have time to talk about it. A lot of, I'm sure
all in.
I'm sure people know there's probably some Baby Yoda going on. And that's actually something I found, and we'll open with this, but I can't wait to get into both the Watchmen series / season finale next segment. But we're going to open this up. I actually saw this from Jon Favreau. He was named Producer of the Year according to Hollywood Reporter, he was Hollywood Reporter's Producer of the Year. And he talked about the creation of Baby Yoda. So in Chapter 6 of Mandalorian, which by the way has been is my favorite episode to date right now. Bill Burr, love it. A lot of little jokes in there, which I loved as well too. A lot of nods to what had come before, but this finally felt like an episode that was dangerous to me. But anyway, before we get into that, the creation of Baby Yoda, Jon Favreau started saying, I think the part of what people really value is to be surprised and delighted, and I think that's becoming all too rare. It's very difficult to keep secrets about projects you're working on. By holding back on that one product, we knew we may have had the disadvantage of not making the toys. We got in exchange this excitement. And he talked about, learning about him. It's that we don't really know a lot about Baby Yoda, and that was something that he was really, kind of excited to kind of talk about it. But he's also talking about how there's intersection between the Star Wars feature films and additional Disney Plus show. And he says, I'm putting a lot of effort working with Dave Filoni to figure out what the overarching story is and the storyline for all these characters and what the world is like. We want to make sure we have a roadmap because we're also a puzzle piece that fits into a larger Star Wars universe. So it's interesting to kind of hear Jon Favreau talk about actually having a plan for Star Wars. It's also interesting to see, obviously today's episode that was streamed today, the reason that they did it is they wanted to make sure Friday was held, what do you call, to be like the Rise of Skywalker, which, have you got your tickets yet?
I have tickets, yes.
You're good. When are you seeing? You're seeing it tomorrow? You're going to see it opening?
I'm seeing it Friday.
Oh, you're going to see Friday. Okay. So you're not camping out late Thursday night?
No.
You're too old for that now?
I was never old enough for that, or I was never young enough for that. One of the two.
Okay.
I never wanted to see a movie so bad I was going to sleep on a sidewalk to see it. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right.
No.
All right. Well, that's
all I require is to see it the opening day,
that's refreshing to me.
Which continues the tradition because I actually saw A New Hope on the opening day.
Did you know what you were getting?
1977.
Did you know what you how old were you?
I was 4. I didn't know a thing.
Oh, so
I knew, as everybody who knows me knows the story. I knew I wanted to go see there was a train show. I was apparently a very big train fanatic when I was a kid, and the train show was sold out when we got there.
Oh no!
So I was, as as a father, you understand what happens when the kid starts to start
down.
Yeah, start tearing up.
Good.
Start flailing around and whatever. So
yeah, it's not good.
In order to appease the beast that was coming, my mother took me to see the new space movie, which was Star Wars, and
that's awesome.
That was it, because I don't have any feelings for trains anymore, and clearly we see that Star Wars trumped the trains. It annihilated whatever fledgling desire I had to be a conductor or an engineer or whatever that was. It was gone the minute I saw Darth Vader.
Yeah.
So all I require now is just to see it on opening day, because I saw Empire Strikes Back on opening day. I saw Return of the Jedi on opening day after that.
Yeah.
And then so did the prequels, and then I have also seen The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi on opening day.
Okay.
Much to my chagrin.
I will be going Sunday morning. First thing Sunday morning.
Staying off of social media for the duration.
Yeah, that's easy. That's easy on a weekend. I can definitely do that.
A lot of people are seeing it tonight. The spoilers are going to be out tonight.
I know.
By tonight.
I know.
So stay off social media until such time as you see it.
Yeah.
I remember for The Force Awakens, the spoilers, for Han Solo's death were being posted everywhere on social media.
Really?
The day after. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. It was there were a-holes like aplenty. Also for Rogue One, the fact that they all die. Spoiler.
Right.
But it was
how dare you, sir?
It was 2016, people. That's not my fault.
Yeah.
The fact that they all died was also one of the. Now, luckily, neither one of these had been ruined for me because I had already seen them.
Yeah. There is an. Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I said there is an amazing How I Met Your Mother where I don't know if you ever watched that show. Great show.
No.
Go binge it. Where he can't watch this. They have an annual Super Bowl party ritual where they all get together to watch the ball game. But for some reason they couldn't do it on that night, so they all decided to get together the next night, and he had it recorded. And this is back when there was just TiVo. And he builds this like blackout sunglasses so that if he needs to go out, he won't see on the TV any highlights or scores, so that he can go in absolutely fresh and not know who won the game. this black sunglass blinder thing is what I do for social media, and it's actually a lot easier to do. It's just you just put the phone down. Here's my phone, and you just put it face down. Boom, and then you don't touch it. You just don't touch it.
It's very novel.
I will admit, I agree, though, it's not necessarily easy to do because sometimes you just, even if you just stumble across like a hashtag by mistake, like that could just send you down like a whirlwind.
A rabbit hole. Terrible. It would be terrible. It destroys you. You're like, no.
Now, let me ask you a question. So today's episode of Mandalorian included a sneak peek at Rise of Skywalker. Or did you tend to? I like to go in fresh too. I've already kind of seen too much. I feel like
I have avoided all the spoilers. Yeah. I have avoided all the discussions about it. The things, the misgivings, the problems that people have with it, the great things, the little things. I did listen to. I watched John Boyega talk about he's got a little more to do in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Oscar Isaac say he's got a little more to do, and Daisy Ridley said she's happy because she's with John Boyega and Oscar Isaac as opposed to being, alone. So
as opposed to being in a horrible movie.
That's a hot take.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to do the hot takes anymore. I respect it because I was a prequel fan, and jerks like you took great delight in ruining everybody's fun.
That's right.
I cannot be one of those people. I cannot be, even though I dislike the sequels.
Did you see the news item too, though, about J.J. Abrams was kind of talking about how people don't want to go see a meta Star Wars movie. It was actually a rational. I mean, it was a rational comment that was blown out of proportion because then everyone was taking to social media last week, and they're like,
it kind of is the problem is it is taken out of proportion, but it's kind of one of those conversations that those statements that can't be taken in any way, in any other way, out of proportion. Then out of proportion. Excuse me, I can't think this agree. If you say no one goes to a Star Wars movie to be told that
it doesn't matter.
Certain things doesn't matter.
Right.
That's a dig. That's a clear and present shot fired. Maybe not at Rian Johnson, but definitely at The Last Jedi.
And an accurate one, right? I mean, at the end of the day, it is an accurate statement.
I have what I consider to be a natural instinct for stories. And I'm not talking about like I'm a great storyteller, and then I just have a natural way of noticing the story is not falling together right. Even if I don't know immediately what the problem is, I trust my own instincts to know that this is not, these pieces aren't going together harmoniously. And we're going to get into that about something else that we're going to review this evening, right? So,
I can't wait.
Watching the Last Jedi a number of times, when a number of things were just coming out to be like, okay, that doesn't matter, that doesn't matter. And even me, who was now at that point a casual fan, because I wasn't a giant fan of The Force Awakens, and I wasn't a huge fan of Finn, Rey, and Poe.
Right.
But I'm there. I was invested. I was watching. I'm curious to see how this all kinds of falls together. And moment after moment, you were telling me it doesn't matter. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to. I mean, it was a movie that was devoid of information.
Yeah.
When you were looking at Luke Skywalker and you're like, okay, why did you? I don't mind that he became disillusioned. I don't mind that he was a reclusive on an island. I don't mind that. That happens. All you gotta do is tell me why.
Right.
All you gotta do is tell me why. Where did he lose his faith? And it's assuming or considering.
Well, they told
the fact
you
that they killed him.
You, right. Well, yeah, he'll be back.
The fact that they killed him off, of course, but considering the fact that they killed him off, this was going to be our last chance to hear the truth, the real gritty truth as to what it was that made him walk away from it all. And the information that he does give, when finally they pry it out of him with a crowbar,
right,
is so sparse. It's
very thin.
Yeah, and
it has no impact.
At the height
no impact. Yeah.
Yeah, everything he tells you is something we already knew.
Yeah.
We already knew Darth Sidious wiped out the. I mean, it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, and then they don't tell us about Rey. They kill off Snoke without telling us anything about him.
Yeah.
They don't really elaborate on where it was that Kylo Ren got seduced to become a dark side person, and
Right.
and leave the Jedi Order. They don't explain where
they just kind of assume,
lightsaber came from. They just
kind of assume that you'll just put the pieces together yourself.
You'll put the pieces together
"That's
yourself, and you'll accept it because it's Star Wars. Where it's a brand. You're here for the brand recognition. You're not here for the story.
Right.
And in some respects, because it made $1 billion, they were correct.
Yeah.
And in many ways, they were wrong. So I mean, we will find out.
Like Jeff Gomez said, though, ask Hasbro about the toy sales, and that's something you can actually genuinely look at and go, well, what does it matter? Well, it matters when you go see a movie and it does $1 billion. That's a great thing. But Star Wars is not a movie. Star Wars is a phenomenon. It's a cultural, touchstone.
Yes.
It touches. I was in the supermarket just this past weekend, and I saw the breakfast cereal come back. And I kind of want to buy the breakfast cereal just because it kind of reminds me of being a kid and having the breakfast cereal. But that breakfast cereal is only out when the movies come out. It's a phenomenon. It touches every part of your everyday life. It's not just so when your toy sales are down or your cereal sales are down or the transmedia aspect to it
all
is
the superfluous
down.
markets, all the adjacent markets that you're
that $1 billion is not. It doesn't.
It's
cut
not
it.
translating into
It
a
just
payday
doesn't
for
cut it.
everybody.
And that's why Solo was considered such a bomb for having only made like what $300 or $400 million.
It's another piece of arrogance because I like Solo. I think I think they're all good movies. I don't think The Last Jedi is a good movie, but I think they're all good movies. Like and then even in and of itself, The Last Jedi is a good spectacle. But movie wise, I think The Force Awakens is a perfectly good movie. I love Rogue One. I think it's a good movie. I love Solo. I thought it was a good movie. Now, The Force Awakens was a repeat. Was a retread.
Sure.
I didn't appreciate that. I had my issues with it. Also, The Force Awakens seemed just like The Last Jedi to go out of its way to not answer any questions.
Right.
To just ask questions and not answer them. Like I said, it's always front loaded, which is again something we'll talk about this evening. But when you take these iconic characters, right? And this was the genius of hot take. This was the genius of George Lucas. He managed to add to Star Wars one way or another, whether successfully or unsuccessfully, without taking from Star Wars.
Right.
He did not murder any of the main characters. He did not destroy. The only thing he did
Obi-Wan,
was
right?
Huh?
Obi-Wan.
But Obi-Wan was already. I mean, he didn't change the Obi-Wan that you loved from A New Hope because it was. In fact, he just elaborated on him, and of course, Obi-Wan is almost universally considered the best part of those movies, right? By lovers and haters alike.
Oh
right?
yeah,
so
absolutely.
So I mean, even if he did capitalize on Obi-Wan, he didn't destroy Obi-Wan in the process, right? So he managed to add to the Star Wars mythology. He managed to world build. He managed to add an entire new a pastiche of that genre with the Clone Wars with the Republic era, right? And add an entire new revenue stream. And he didn't touch the OT, the original trilogy, with the exception of midichlorians, which people took the biggest exception to, and that's as pertains to the original trilogy.
And to circle back to Mandalorian, where I think people are really actually responding to Mandalorian, and again, Chapter 6, not getting into Chapter 7, because again, if you were out there and you haven't seen it yet, it just came, just started streaming today, so we're gonna stay away from Chapter 7. But if you saw Chapter 6, a lot of nods to the past, but it's also starting to build something a little bit. I love, you know what I mean. I like this. This was my favorite episode to date. Actually, I got to be honest with you. It had a touch of the Star Wars universe that we've seen before and kind of added a little bit to it. And I like the little joke with Bill Burr being a former stormtrooper and Mandalorian being like, a sharpshooter for the Imperial And he's like, yeah, it doesn't mean much.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I love the scene where he's got the three guns and he's shooting. He missed so many times. It was little things like that I do appreciate, which actually, I mean, look, they're in every episode of Mandalorian. There's these little things. This particular episode, Chapter 6, I thought was the first episode where I actually felt like he was in real danger, and I felt like they weren't doing the same thing, which I guess they were, but, you know, I don't know. It's interesting to see. It's interesting to listen to Jon Favreau talk about this overarching plan. You know, it's interesting to see, you know, where they're trying to fit this puzzle, and you can actually tell they have a plan, or they're trying to, at least as they go along, have a plan, as opposed to what Rise of Skywalker will hopefully do for us. Will hopefully show us. This is something too that I thought was interesting. Jeff Gomez, when he was on, not this past week, but last year, was talking about how after Empire Strikes Back, people were down on Star Wars because of the revelation that Darth Vader was Luke's father and how much of a downer it was, and this and that. Prediction: does Rise of Skywalker kind of, I don't want to say like complete this, but give it some sort of sense of, is it gonna do for the Star Wars sequels what Return of the Jedi essentially did, which was tie everything together and give us a neat 3-story arc?
I believe it will tie everything together. Whether or not it will tie everything together successfully or satisfactorily will probably be subjective.
Yeah. I wonder if we're gonna get a Luke Emperor Force Ghost battle. That's my. I have no knowledge or information. That's my just, you know. I'm like,
maybe. I mean,
cool.
in a sense, if they do that, then what's the purpose of Rey?
There's no purpose.
Or Kylo.
There's no purpose. They don't have a purpose.
They don't. They don't have a stated purpose. But in order for them to successfully wrap everything up, they're going to have to give her a purpose. I know. And so if they had us following her for 2 movies and how many other books, and then they have it wrapped up with a ghost rising up from the grave and slaying the big bad at the end of it, then it was a complete waste. The whole thing was a farce.
Yeah.
You know? So they probably won't let that happen.
Do you get this?
Probably won't happen.
Do you think there's going to be some massive Force Ghost battle? Like you're going to have Hayden Christensen and Luke Skywalker and Obi-Wan just like rushing toward the Emperor and battling the Emperor at the end?
No clue.
I hope it. Yeah, I hope it. I actually hope it doesn't do that. All right.
I you know what the problem is? If it did that, or if it didn't do that, I'd probably have the same reaction. Like, all right, interesting.
Well,
interesting way to destroy everything that came before you. You know,
2 days from tonight.
Yes. You
will get a finale to the Skywalker saga. 3 days ago, Tuesday, Monday, Sunday, you got the finale of one of, all right, if not the most talked about in this past year, according to HBO, the most watched new show they've had. So when we come back, we will be talking Watchmen season or series finale when we come back. Check out the all-new Sire Studios website, SireStudiosInc.com. Find all your back issues for The Sire, Mainstream, Undone, and more. And be on the lookout for news and announcements, convention appearances, and brand new podcasts coming to Sire Studios. That address again is SireStudiosInc.com. Welcome back to Secrets of the Sire. Secrets of the Sire is brought to you by all of our beloved patrons, dedicated fans, Tom Osa, Craig Caruso, Einar Peterson, Matt Byer, Ashley Haikai, Omar Morales, Brian Phillips, Steve Ovecki, Program Director Stephanie Dolce, and as always, our Uber fan, Christina Dolce. Thank you to the patrons. Thank you to all you guys out there for making 2019 just, even a greater and greater year for Secrets of the Sire. We celebrated 200 episodes last week. 201 tonight. Really couldn't do it without you. So as this is our last official podcast of the year, I want to give you guys a big thank you from a bottom of our hearts and our mouths.
What heart?
Hassan's black coal heart.
I don't have a heart.
Oh,
it's just an empty space.
Just a lump. All right, this show has surpassed my expectations. I didn't have high expectations for Watchmen. This is watch. This is our finale review. I didn't have high expectations because I was very skeptical coming in. Going back to the very first episode, the tone and the style of it got me hooked, got me interested every single week. Floundered a little. I don't want to say floundered, but, kind of teetered a little bit toward the middle. But I think the last 3 episodes of Watchmen have just been, absolutely riveting and must see. I'm very happy that we did an episode by episode review, which was pretty cool. I also want to thank HBO. And I want to thank Disney Plus for giving us content to talk about, made coming up with show content really easy the last 9 weeks or so. Hassan, did the season finale stick the landing for you?
Yeah, it did.
As I know last week you were kind of like, hey, I'm actually kind of coming around on this.
Well, it's a hot take, technically, because it stuck the landing, but it stuck the landing for exactly what I thought it was going to be.
Okay. Which is
a very well done, excellently acted, excellently well crafted 8-episode distraction disguised as a real story.
Okay.
Because it seems like people are like intrigued by they consider having their brain teased. They consider that high art. So it was it was well played. It was well manipulated. I don't think personally that the story did or said anything, which is ironic considering we watched 8 hours.
Yes, I actually can't disagree with you on that, and I think it goes back to my initial thing. My only misgiving about this is the two-dimensional ness, for lack of a better word, of the main quote-unquote villains, which was the white supremacists. Yes, white supremacists are not necessarily complex characters to begin with. If you think about it in real life, if you think about it, they're not necessarily the most nuanced people in the world. But between the white supremacists and Lady True, loved the revelation. By the way, spoilers if you haven't seen. It's been 4 days, guys. Come on. Lady True, I guess, turned out to also be a villain, but we're just kind of told she's a villain at the end. Like, oh, she's going to take Dr. Manhattan's powers for herself. So that makes her the villain. Whereas if they had, I feel like if Damon Lindelof had decided to give us the backstory of Lady True, give it at least 1 or 2 episodes previous, much like Khaleesi in Game of Thrones, there would have been a little bit more of a build-up to her all of a sudden being evil. The thing that I love about this episode, though, is it stayed true to the roots of Adrian Veidt. And by the way, did you notice I was correct? He was in the statue the whole time.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Well done.
I know.
But I also said that she was his daughter.
Did you?
Yes.
I'm going to have to check the archives.
Check the archives.
On secretsofthesire.com. I can do that.
And that she was designing a device to bring him from wherever he was, where at the time we could not decide whether he was on Mars or the moon.
Right.
It turns out we were wrong. He was on a moon, just not the moon.
Right. Again, and I absolutely loved the fact that everything we were watching with him for 9 episodes was him just killing time. I actually loved that little revelation. I love it. Like, and then.
Well, you see, here's the thing.
Was I master? Was I a worthy adversary? No, you were not. It's like, that's awesome.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, no. I mean, if you thought it was awesome, then it was awesome to you.
Yes.
And there's not, and then that doesn't mean if I disagreed with you, that don't freaking mean I'm right. You know,
It never
I'm just
does.
saying, huh?
Yeah. Nothing. Go ahead.
You know what? I'm trying to be, and you're being a dick. So you go right ahead. I'm done talking. I'm done.
Well, here's
Review's over.
well
I
here's
don't want no part of it no more. I don't want no part.
here's two points that we should get into,
I
and
don't
this is
want to hear
coming
your
right.
parts.
This is coming from Damon Lindelof, straight from Damon Lindelof. It's actually
Oh
coming
my
from Hollywood
God.
Reporter, but in an interview about the finale, it's similar to the ending of the graphic novel, a hand hovering over Rorschach's journal. Is it going to make it a print? Are these secrets going to blow up the world? Here, it's a foot about to stand on water, and the world is about to change once more. He says, correct. I understand some people will probably shout at their TV screens. I feel that this ending is the closest to Watchmen based on what you just said.
Oh my God. Okay. Here's the thing. Why? Okay. Stories are three things, right? And I already said this. So stories are like a proposal, an argument, and a conclusion, right? Or whatever the question, right? I'm gonna continue Watchmen. I'm gonna pick it up 30 years after a seminal comic book. And the argument would be like, why? What would be the point of telling this story? Why would you come back to this world after so long?
Well,
and the conclusion
yeah,
usually should jibe with the proposal in and of itself, right? There's more story to tell. There's more intrigue to it. There's more nuance to it. There's more to Dr. Manhattan. There's more to Adrian Veidt. There's more to the owl. Cause Dan, what's his name? I always remember his just Dryberg or something like that. I never remember his last name. There's more to Hooded Justice, to Ozymandias, to all these characters, right? But there wasn't.
You don't think Hooded Justice? I thought that was actually a really.
I don't think that was a big question coming out of the comic book. Who was Hooded Justice? I
No.
mean, that was a question that no one knew who Hooded Justice was in the comic book.
Yeah.
Right? But that wasn't a burning question that required an answer. And in the process of giving us the answer to who Hooded Justice was, which was fun. Okay, it's not like if they decided, we're going to tell you who Hooded Justice is, okay, and then we're going to force a connection with him to broaden the story out, and we're going to bring in Angela Abar, who doesn't really want anything, who's not really after anything, who's constantly chasing the plot instead of her leading the plot, and we're going to use her as a device to kind of look into the past of Hooded Justice. Hooded Justice, who, by the way, murdered an innocent man and then got to go live with his granddaughter.
Was he innocent, though? He was a white supremacist, apparently.
He wasn't. His wife said that was my grandfather's.
When did she say that? I missed that.
She said that
when Blake was...
when they captured Blake. That belonged to my father.
Oh.
So
yeah, he was innocent.
So they leave that open, that Don Johnson wasn't even a white supremacist. And he got hung because Angela Abar.
Right.
Okay, so what was the point of that, though? The point was that's a cute twist.
Yeah.
But there was no point to it. So the mystery that guided us into the entire story was pointless. And this is what I told you before when I said they're front loading this entire thing with mystery, and they're not going to be able to land any of this stuff. None of this stuff is going to have an impactful ending. And the thing that convinced me of it was watching Lou Gossett Jr. with a strobe light make Don Johnson hang himself. And I'm like, oh my God, you got to be kidding me. Now, again, I think it was really well done, and it was what?
You just flashed the Cyclops sign.
I did not.
You did that.
Yeah.
Twist. What a twist! One question that Lindelof would not answer, by the way, though. Who is Lube Man? Still wouldn't answer that. We will never know. However, he was asked, is this something your successor is going to deal with? He says, exactly. So apparently, the one thing he said is that before the series aired, you said you were viewing the season as its own piece. This may end up being the end of the story with the finale upon us. Has that changed? Are you interested in a second season? Is it something you're still considering the possibility of exploring? It's so interesting that you present the question that way because am I interested in a second season? The answer is yes, the same way I'm interested in anything that calls itself Watchmen. I do find it interesting where the story could go next. More importantly, I think we always think about how season 2 of a show is the continuing adventures of the first season. That's what happened on Lost. That's what happened on Breaking Bad. But there's another thing that's happened in television. Look at season 2 of The Wire. That season in the docks, the cops are relegated to being second stringers. The third season is Amsterdam. The fourth season is a deep dive on public schools. I think Watchmen, not unlike Fargo or True Detective, can accommodate a much larger space of storytelling. That's interesting to me. As for me, I haven't the idea. I had to convince myself if this was going to be satisfying 9-episode series, we wouldn't bury things for later.
I thought the fourth season was Amsterdam.
I don't know.
I think the fourth season is Amsterdam.
I couldn't tell you. Maybe Lindelof screwed up again. Oh, that Lindelof. That's terrible. So essentially, I think his story was talking about the inequity of.
Oh boy, this will be rich.
No, he literally says that. Like, that's what he was literally trying to tell. He was trying to tell it through
the inequity of what? The inequity of what?
With the between races and culture in our society and white supremacists. Like he was using Watchmen.
How did he tell us that?
No, I'm literally telling you what he said.
I know what he said.
Yes.
I'm asking you, how do you think he accomplished that? How is this a demonstration of the inequities?
Here we go. He says, but because we're dealing with material that dealt with systematic pain inflicted on people of color in America over the course of the past 4 centuries. So essentially, I think he was writing this as his thesis statement. He told the story as a thesis statement.
But how does it talk about that? It showcases that.
Mm-hmm.
But how is this in any way a commentary on it, other than depicting it? What about it is metaphorical or allegorical?
Oh no! There's nothing metaphorical or allegorical. In fact, he basically every character spells out.
I'm not even talking about like even no, in the characters. I know that. Yeah. I'm saying in the rawness.
Yeah.
Of the complete triteness of it.
Mm-hmm.
What was the message supposed to be?
That
what
people have been wronged. People of color have been wronged throughout the years.
In what way did he say that?
Because I think Lady True literally got up there and said, "You have wronged people of color for many, many years." That's the one failure of this season, though, is that it literally hits you over the head with the.
It doesn't hit
points.
You. That's what you think because you don't like the subject matter. But I'm telling you, as a person analyzing the subject,
mm-hmm.
He didn't hit you over the head with any of it. He doesn't tell you anything. He doesn't make any kind of commentary on it whatsoever. It's a piece of it's a plot device. It's a backdrop. It's like this, you know. It's as basically substantive as this backdrop, which is just there to kind of paint a picture of where I may be while I'm making this comment. But it doesn't really have anything to say. It offers absolutely nothing. It is the tritest offering of commentary, of social commentary I've ever seen. Now, as I said before, it's very well crafted.
Mm-hmm.
It's extremely distracting. It is a great demonstration of how you can string people along for 8 hours straight or 8 weeks, and then not provide them anything I mean, what was the whole point of Lady True? Right? Okay, I wanted to be Dr. Manhattan. Well, okay, so I'm your daughter. Oh, you threw that in as a gotcha because he's going to, I mean, they're not going to have a meaningful relationship. They're not going to do anything. There is nothing about her that required her to be related to Adrian Veidt.
Right.
There was no tricks or trade or anything like that. Same with Angela. There was nothing that required her to be the granddaughter of Hooded Justice. Nothing. She didn't share any traits with him. She didn't share a story with him, an origin story, any of that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, maybe with the cops being a police officer seemed to be a thread.
No, that's a coincidence. That's
right. I'm just saying, it's a thread that was a thread that went through. Coincidence or not, I mean, that's about. I'm just giving you some.
There was nothing. It really wasn't anything.
Would you say you said successful at distracting? Overall, would you
knuckleheads? That's for sure.
Would you give this a thumbs up or a thumbs down?
It depends what the category is.
Worth your time.
I think if you were a fan of the comic book and you had not seen this show, it would be worth your time to watch it. Would you feel like it was a worthy successor? Would you feel like you have seen something substantial once you finished? Probably not. Or your mileage may vary.
And it's a question we kept bringing up. I felt I got everything I wanted to see when we got to see we got to see what comes next after the graphic novel, but in a way that is not, it was riveting and it was stylistically gorgeous. Jeremy Irons is the best part of that show. I mean, hands down. Like at the end of the day, when we finally get to see him in action, we get to see him having his conversations with Dr. Manhattan. We get to see him interacting with Blake. I like that Blake ended up arresting him at the end because that's kind of neat because he's actually going to get what he wanted, which is the recognition. That being said, the recognition part is a new motive we never really got to see because he never wanted that. He wanted to save mankind, and Lindelof kind of touches on this in the interview too. Though it's that that while you can prevent nuclear war, the seeds for what sets us apart, that doesn't go away. And I think that was Damon Lindelof's entire point, I think, in terms of doing this, at least according to Damon Lindelof. Whether or not he succeeded.
David Lindelof's point of doing this is, I can make a ton of money off of this pre-established fan base.
I think he did it. I think he did a nice job. I think he did a very nice job. All right.
That's your opinion, but that's not mine.
Let us know what you think. With you. Chime in. Let me know. Let us know. Did you were you satisfied with the series? I know Victor Dandridge was loving it. He also loved us name dropping him last week, so that was good too. When we come back, 2019 coming to a close, we spin the racks on 2019, the best in movies, TV, and comics. Next.
What I want to feel for Rian Johnson as a creator is that he turned in the most kick-ass Star Wars script that was going to flip the script on the entire saga, and Kathleen Kennedy and everybody else like, no, we can't do this. What else you got? And then he turns into the first draft of the Star Wars fanfic that he did when he was 15 years old. He goes, well, I got this also. And they're like, we'll make this. This is brilliant. Secrets of the Sire.
Welcome back to Secrets of the Sire, talking comics, movies, TV, and pop culture. We're going to do it for the rest of the entire 2019. We're going to go back. We're going to spin the racks.
Spin the rack, spin that rack.
The best of 2019 in comics, movies, and TV. Now, Hassan, last week we did best of the decade. So your choice. Well, let's do a little prices right here. Like spin the wheel. Which genre is it? Genre? No. Which platform would you like to start with? Comics, movies, or TV? Your best of for 2019. You get to pick first.
Movies.
All right. Your best movie of 2019 is?
Endgame.
Mine's Joker, actually. I gotta go with
Nobody
Joker.
asked you.
Gotta go with Joker. Well, no, I asked myself now. That's kind of the beauty of having lead chair here. Endgame, I'm just not a fan of that movie. I'm just not a fan of that whole direction. I feel completely let down. I feel like they never sufficiently, I feel like they wrapped up Infinity War in the first 5 minutes.
Should I change my choice?
No, you're allowed to be entitled to your wrong opinion.
Okay, just checking. Yeah, no. Because Joker is, if that's the right opinion.
Joker completely surprised me with what it was.
Stick of butter surprises you.
Versus Endgame, that disappointed me when all was said and done. Isn't it funny though too? I mean,
should I answer the other two questions because you're just going to contradict them? So
maybe
I'm not going to.
Maybe I'll agree with you. Maybe I'll agree with you.
I don't care if you agree or disagree. Who cares? What do I win if you agree?
Isn't it funny that 2019 started out with Captain Marvel? Doesn't that feel like a lifetime ago when that movie came out? But it was actually at the beginning of this. It
was quite a while ago. Yeah, feels like a while ago.
Feels like I guess it's 10 months ago or whatever it is. But
12.
No, February. No, it's not. It's not February. 12 would be February.
All right.
10.
So
no,
we're in the 12th month. So when did it come out?
February. I keep telling you, the end of February.
So
or March
months.
even. It might even be
That's
March.
11.
Might even be March though. I thought it was like the first week of March. Actually, it was the first week of March. My movie of the year, by the way, besides Joker, New Mutants.
You can't have two movies of the year.
See what I did there, though?
You can't have two movies of the year, even if the other movie that you chose didn't come out.
That's why I did it. So I only have one movie. That movie's never coming out. It's just never coming out. All right.
I don't know what the purpose of this is.
Your best of the decade TV was Game of Thrones. Is that your best of the year?
No.
Can't be, right?
I don't know if it can't be. It is not.
Yeah.
It's perfectly suitable to be. I just don't feel it is.
This is another year.
Why would you say it can't be?
Because it fumbled the landing. It fumbled the.
In your opinion, Michael, our opinions diverge. Though you do realize that, right?
Not when it comes to Game of Thrones.
No. Yeah.
I checked the archives. We were very much simpatico. Your best of 2019 TV. It's tough, right?
2019 television best of.
You got Mandalorian. You got Watchmen. Game of Thrones ended. I don't think Westworld came out this year, right? That was last year.
I wouldn't have been one of mine anyway.
Yep, that was last year.
Maybe Carnival Row.
Ooh, look at you go.
I enjoyed that. Because it was just way different. Very innovative. Had its issues. I had issues with it. I don't know if it has issues, but I had issues with it. But I would say that was that one reached the furthest for something different. Also, I very much enjoyed Discovery Season 2.
Okay. I love just talk about a couple shows I love that are all ending because that's just is Corporate. Great show on Comedy Central. Is going to come to an end next season. True Detective. Remember True Detective? Remember True Detective this year? It was actually a pretty darn good show this year,
Yes, it was.
as opposed to season
It's
2.
up there. It wasn't my favorite, but it was up there.
Yeah. But you're gonna hate this. I got to give it to Watchmen. Watchmen is my
I
TV
don't
show
hate
of
it.
the
It's
year.
your choice.
You hate
You
it
want to
deep
make
down.
that choice, huh?
Deep down, you hate it. I got to tell you
Yeah,
that
you
that
wish you lived rent free in my head, man.
Mandalorian would be a lot of people's choices. I feel like, but I feel like even between that and Watchmen, it's kind of like that impulse one, where it's kind of fresh in the brain kind of thing. And Game of Thrones,
Mandalorian is very good and very enjoyable, but it's not intricate. It's not, it's not. It's compelling in the sense that it's a breath of fresh air every week.
Yeah,
and a really cool and a really straightforward and solid character to follow through.
Feels like 70s television, right? And I don't mean that in a bad way.
Some really good tropey science fiction situations and circumstances, but it didn't. There's some things I watch. It's like, man, I want more of this.
Yeah.
I want to read the book, involving this, and I want to go further. The other one, I would say it's Carnival Row is number 2.
Okay.
Discovery's number 3. Stranger Things this year was number 1.
Ooh, look at you go. You're right, actually. Yeah. Okay. All right. See, we're simpatico. I forgot about Stranger Things. What kind of comics, movies, TV, and pop culture hosts are we that we? Hey,
I remembered it
that?
Eventually. Eventually, I was like, oh yeah, that was a big deal. This was an exceptionally good season. Mainly
we need this break so bad. Go ahead.
Mainly not an exceptionally good season in and of itself, but it was an absolutely exceptionally good third season for a show. Especially after a second season that was had ups and downs, and it kind of flirted with the shark jump for one episode.
Yeah.
It was the third season was like, no, this thing has legs. This thing really can last a while, which is ironic because they just announced that the next season is going to be the last season. So I guess
did they really?
While you're ahead,
I didn't even catch that.
That I read that could have changed, but that I read recently. Supposedly the next season is going to be last season, and then they're going to do a movie, from what I understand.
No.
So 4 seasons and a movie.
Right now, actually.
Bam. Yeah. Bam. 4-season movie. Bam. 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 After they bring back Hopper. Bam. Hopper's alive. Hopper lives. Bam.
This says the truth is we're definitely going 4 seasons, and there's very much the possibility of a 5th. I think they'll do 5th. I think they will.
I don't know if they should.
No, I don't think so.
Quit while you're ahead.
I hope Lindelof doesn't do another Watchmen. I hope there's no more Watchmen.
Me too. We're simpatico. I hope he doesn't do another one either. In fact, I will add, I hope Lindelof doesn't do anything else ever again.
Best of the year comics. Got to be House of X and Powers of 10.
I don't read comics like I should, so I can't even comment on the best comics. The most extensive, comprehensive thing I've read was House of X. And
Paper Girls. Go read Paper Girls. That's actually that's if you want a really well written time travel story, that's the one to go to. Brian K. Vaughan is unbelievable.
Paper Girls.
Yeah, Paper Girls. Paper Girls is a series that So my standard is Stray Bullets because it is never bad. It is always good. So it is just always consistently great in my mind. Paper Girls was the one everyone goes like nuts over Saga. Like they love Saga. Brian K. Vaughan, Saga's this and Saga's great. Saga's okay. It never quite.
Hot take. Whoa.
It never quite, for me, hits the notes that everyone else keeps talking about. Like, oh, you got to see it. It's amazing, this and that. And I go, it's okay. Like, it's got a cool heart to it. I do care about the characters. It's an interesting sci-fi take. there's definitely a lot of political allegories going on, social allegories going on. It works. It's very good. I still buy it and I still love it. Or sorry, I still enjoy it. Sorry, I don't love it. I enjoy it. But read Paper Girls. It's like you want to read a riveting story that also has political overtones and social overtones, but does it in a time travel capacity that is actually makes sense. And 30 issues. That's it. They finished the series. They finished it on 30 issues. That was
Something
it.
to be said about that, at least.
Yeah, beginning, middle, and end. But I still have to give it to House of X and Powers of 10 just because of how bad the X-Men books.
Powers of X,
can't
not
even,
Powers of 10.
No, I actually just read that it's supposed to be pronounced Powers of 10.
That's stupid. Now I'm not reading that.
But think about it. It is the Powers of 10 that we're looking at in terms of years. So, all right.
True.
We are getting a break. Oh my God, it's amazing. It's so incredible. No,
it's going to allow us to keep doing the show so we don't murder each other.
It has been a tremendously great year. We were, you know what? I should have prepped a little bit better and had our guest.
Should be a montage of all the wonderful stuff that we did over. Where's that montage?
Gotta have a montage. No,
we have to have a montage.
Which, by the way, was the worst part of the Mandalorian episode. I think episode 4 or 5, the one with Gina Carino, was the montage. Terrible.
Okay.
We will be live December 28th. Go follow us on Patreon, and you can have access to the feed. If not, the next time you will see us will be January 1st, and that will be footage taken from our wonderful Rise of Skywalker and Mandalorian season finale review. So the next time you will actually see us will be January 8th. Don't miss us too much. Go jump on the Patreon feed. We will miss you, though. I miss everyone. I miss everyone that listens to us.
I miss them all right now.
I don't miss you. I miss them. The Secrets of the Sire signing off for 2019. Happy New Year, everyone. Happy holidays. We'll see you next year.